The orange testicle in roller skates is no president. He's the rot in America's core. The truth is no longer hiding behind red ties and patriotic slogans. It's crawling right out of the shadows of Mar-a-Lago and Trump Tower, where the champagne once overflowed and the lies stacked higher than the towers themselves. The orange testicle in roller skates didn't surround himself with patriots or loyalists. He surrounded himself with the kind of perverts who ended up in the Epstein files. And don't kid yourself, many of those names still sit comfortably in power today, sipping imported water and pretending their filth smells like democracy. This man never built a movement. He built a ring of corruption. His so-called administration wasn't made up of public servants. It was a network of enablers, power junkies, and predators disguised as politicians. They hid behind the Bible, waved the flag, and smiled while they robbed the working class blind. Every decision they made wasn't for the people. It was for their people, the ones whose names are hidden in sealed files that every court keeps refusing to touch. Now let's talk about that Supreme Court he loves to brag about. Don't hold your breath waiting for them to take up the Epstein case. You'd have better luck waiting for pigs to file ethics disclosures. The truth is, many of the same names defending him are tangled in that mess. The same hands that sign judgments are the hands that partied on Epstein's island. And the same voices pretending to protect American values are the ones who traded them for power and silence. And the White House. Don't even get me started. It's crawling with the same kind of parasites, people who think public service means protecting their own secrets. The entire upper layer of government has turned into a twisted social club for the powerful, where deals are made in backrooms and consequences never exist. They don't care who's starving, who's losing their home, or who can't afford insulin. The system feeds them first, and they throw us the crumbs, if that. We've got senior citizens who can't afford to eat, disabled people barely making it through the month, families working 2 jobs and still choosing between rent and groceries. But the orange testicle in roller skates. He's too busy playing dictator in designer suits, telling Americans that if we just elect more Republicans, all our pain will stop. No, what'll stop is democracy itself. Because what he's offering isn't leadership, it's ransom. Vote red, he says, and I'll stop your suffering. That's not a campaign promise. That's blackmail. We are not falling for it. The blue wave is coming harder and louder than ever, and this time it's not just politics, it's survival. Americans are done being guilt-tripped by a con man in an orange spray tan. We're done pretending a criminal deserves to sit in the Oval Office while the rest of us struggle to stay afloat. Every lie he told, every insult he threw, every life he destroyed, it's all adding up, and the people are finally seeing through it. Because when a nation is bleeding, you don't fix it by giving more knives to the ones who stabbed it. You fix it by standing together, refusing to back down, and calling the corruption by its name. You fix it by voting blue, by fighting for those who don't have a voice, by defending truth like it's oxygen. Because right now, that's what it is, the only thing keeping this country alive. You can feel it, can't you? The tension, the exhaustion, the fury of a people who have had enough of the lies. We're living in a time when the line between reality and insanity blurs every day. Groceries cost more than rent costs more than dignity, and the only thing falling faster than the middle class is our patience. And yet, somehow, this orange fool thinks we'll bow down and hand him the keys again. Not a chance. If there's one thing this election is proving, it's that America still has fighters left. Regular people who get up every day and work their hearts out, not for greed or fame, but for survival and hope. The single mom stretching a paycheck, the veteran living on disability, the teacher buying classroom supplies with her own money. These are the real patriots. These are the people the system forgot. And while the rich laugh on private jets, the rest of us are out here rebuilding a country they tried to sell off piece by piece. So when they say, trust the system, remember the system they built wasn't for you. It was for the few, the connected, the untouchable. When they say law and order, remember how many of them broke both. And when they say, we're making America great again, remember what they mean. Great for them, miserable for everyone else. We are not powerless. Every single vote is a middle finger to the corruption that's been feeding on us for years. Every ballot is a hammer against the glass walls of greed. The courts may be compromised, the files may be buried, but the people, we're wide awake now. You can bury evidence, but you can't bury awareness. You can hide documents, but you can't hide the stench of evil forever. The orange testicle in roller skates can spin his lies all he wants, but the truth is a stronger force than his ego. History won't remember him as a leader. It'll remember him as the man who tried to burn democracy for profit and failed. Because no amount of gold-plated nonsense can hide the fact that he betrayed his own people, stripped this country of its dignity, and laughed while it crumbled. And now, as millions of Americans stand in line to vote, he's finally seeing what real power looks like. Not the kind you buy, not the kind you blackmail for, but the kind that rises from the people. The kind that ends dynasties, topples corruption, and builds something new from the wreckage. He thought we'd be too tired, too poor, too scared to fight back. He forgot one thing: we've been surviving his mess for years. We already know how to fight. This election isn't just about politics. It's about right and wrong. It's about humanity versus greed. It's about whether this country belongs to the people who built it or the ones who bought it. We are the 99%, and we're done being polite about it. So no, we're not waiting for the courts to save us. We're not waiting for the files to mysteriously disappear again. We're taking the power back the only way we can, through unity, truth, and a hell of a lot of blue ink. The orange testicle in roller skates is not untouchable. His empire is cracking, his lies are unraveling, and his fake loyalty is eating itself alive. The people he surrounded himself with are the same people who will bring him down because greed doesn't stay loyal. It devours itself, and that's exactly what's happening. So here's to every voter who's standing in line today, rain or shine, refusing to back down. Here's to the ones who see through the noise, who vote with conscience, and who still believe in the possibility of something better. Because when the dust settles and the votes are counted, it won't be about Democrats versus Republicans, it'll be about truth versus deception. And truth, my friends, will always win in the end. Jail time looks good on them. Steve Bannon once stood there, smug and certain, blurting out that if they lost the midterms, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. That line wasn't a warning. It was a confession disguised as strategy. It was the sound of a man terrified that his time of manipulating the masses was running out. Bannon, the puppet master behind the curtain of chaos, didn't even hide it. He knew what they all knew, that the orange testicle in roller skates and his circus of crooks weren't fighting for America. They were fighting for their own skin. They've had years to show us who they really are. They waved flags, screamed about freedom, and wrapped themselves in the Constitution like it was a costume, not a contract. They preached patriotism while robbing the nation blind, calling it saving America. Meanwhile, we the people, the actual backbone of this country, have been living paycheck to paycheck, choosing between groceries and gas, hanging by a thread while these political parasites treated our tax dollars like their personal piggy bank. And now, suddenly, when accountability knocks on their golden doors, we're supposed to panic with them. We're supposed to clutch our pearls and fear that the system is coming for them unfairly. Please, these men have been screaming about law and order for years, until that order decided to look in their direction. Now they're begging for sympathy, the same sympathy they denied every hungry family, every uninsured worker, every American left behind by their greed and lies. They didn't care when families couldn't afford insulin. They didn't care when wages froze, but rents exploded. They didn't care when Americans were choosing between paying the electric bill or buying dinner. They laughed all the way to the bank, waving tax cuts for billionaires like it was an Olympic medal. And when the rest of us started speaking out, protesting, demanding better, they labeled us mobs. They called teachers groomers, nurses radicals, and protesters terrorists. All the while, they were hiding the real criminals in their own ranks, the ones entangled in Epstein's disgusting web, the ones laundering power and privilege, the ones who think their zip code is a shield from justice. Now, the same Steve Bannon who helped build the empire of lies wants you to believe his imprisonment would be political persecution, that his orange messiah, the orange testicle in roller skates, is the only thing standing between us and tyranny. No, Steve, tyranny was your era. It was you watching children ripped from their parents at the border and calling it deterrence. It was you pushing conspiracy while people died. It was your movement flooding the streets with hate, all while pretending it was patriotism. And here's the punchline. We don't care if they go to jail, not even a little bit. Because for once, justice wouldn't be about vengeance, it would be about balance. It would be about the truth finally punching through the smog of spin and manipulation. For years, they've locked up the poor, the powerless, the desperate, while the powerful walked free. Now the tables are turning, and the sound you hear is the universe evening the score. They've had every advantage, every loophole, every crooked friend in high places, and yet here they are, trembling because the walls are closing in. If they didn't want to face prison, they shouldn't have committed crimes. If they didn't want to see their names in the Epstein files, maybe they should have lived with a conscience. You don't get to loot the country, poison democracy, and then cry foul when the cops finally show up. For years, they've mocked justice, taunted it, and twisted it. They've called the FBI corrupt, the courts biased, and the media the enemy. But now that the evidence points squarely at their own crimes, they suddenly want the law to play nice. Funny how accountability feels like oppression to people who have never had to face it. Let's be clear, this isn't about party politics anymore. It's about decency. It's about people who have power finally being held to the same standard as the rest of us. They want to make this about revenge, but it's not. It's about cleaning up a country they dragged through the mud while waving their fake moral flags. The orange testicle in roller skates strutted around claiming to drain the swamp, but he was the swamp, a walking, talking cesspool of corruption and narcissism. And Steve Bannon was the swamp's voice box, whispering poison into every ear willing to listen. They don't care about your job, your health, your mortgage, your child's future, or the fact that half this country can't afford an emergency room visit. They care about staying free, not for your sake, but for theirs. We don't owe them a damn thing, no sympathy, no get-out-of-jail card, no second chances, because when they had the chance to show mercy, they chose malice. When they had the chance to uplift the country, they chose to divide it. And now that the tide is turning, they want compassion from the same people they called un-American. Spare me. This time, the people see through it. The chants, the flags, the fake outrage, all distractions. What they fear most isn't prison. It's exposure. It's the end of the illusion that they were ever heroes of the working class. The truth is, they used that class like a tool and threw it away once the job was done. So yes, Bannon, you might be right. Some of you are going to prison. Maybe not for your opinions, but for your actions, for the lies, the laundering, the cover-ups, and the crimes against children and civilians that you thought would stay buried. The world is watching now, and the days of hiding behind slogans are over. When justice finally comes knocking, it won't be dressed in red or blue. It'll be wearing the face of every citizen who got tired of being lied to. And when those cell doors close, maybe, just maybe, America will breathe a little easier, knowing that even the rich and powerful can't outrun accountability forever. So no, Steve, we're not losing sleep over your worries. You did the crime, now do the time. follow, like, and share this video to stay connected. Love always, Santiago DC Maria, the queen of crowning thoughts. Because I speak without filters and say it like it is.